All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Alchemy Podcast. This is a very special episode with one of my best friends and someone who's interviewed me twice on Today's the Day podcast. Now, it is my honor to have Zaza in the hot seat on the Alchemy Pod. Welcome, brother.
Let's go, Fresh. I'm stoked to be here, dude. I'm very excited to be here.
Zaza, so one thing that I'm excited to have you to chat with is just our friendship. We have seen multiple versions of each other.
That's the truth.
The truth. So I still kind of feel like an asshole about this, but we were in the same office in Memphis, and I don't remember you.
And I don't blame you. You don't need to feel bad. I don't blame you for not I wasn't the most memorable person on the team, that's for sure.
Yeah, you were young, though. You were like, what, 18?
It just turned 18, straight out of high school.
So that office was fun because that was a big year for me because I was on this trajectory to go launch Vivint Internet, and it was kind of like the newest cool thing, and I was kind of building it. And then like a month before that was supposed to happen, Todd calls me, like, abort mission, not happening. You need to go back and sell alarms. I lost my whole team. So the year before was really bad, you know? Mm-hmm. And then Rossiter kind of brings me in. He's like, hey, just come be a rep in my office. So I'm like, I'm going to go throw down. And so that office was like, there were some dogs.
Those are killers. That was Brad's personal office that was literally a bunch of the best reps in the company.
250 count reps, like 6 of us.
Like 8 of you.
Maybe more.
With no structure.
Zero.
It was like, yeah, just go have fun. Maybe we'll run a correlation. Maybe we won't. Let's go nuts. Because there wasn't like a heavy rookie class. If there were, they were these outstanding, like, just beasts that were just buddy with every killer, and then there was me. That's probably why you don't remember me.
Well, there was the office was kind of split because it was like me and D-Mac and Lamb and Bobbick, you know, and Brad and Jake and Nate. We never went to correlation.
I know.
Right? There was zero correlation. But then who was managing you guys? Was it Nate?
No, that was the group that was supposed to be managing us, but there was never things going on. It was literally Brad and Dustin would switch off who ran it. But the other office was Seth Webster running a satellite in northern Mississippi.
Yeah. But we all lived in the same apartments, though, didn't we?
Yeah, we all lived. Yeah. We all lived at the reserve at Dexter Lake.
Yep, reserve at Dexter.
And then we would meet up in Cordova, and we would meet actually in Germantown and off Germantown Boulevard. And then we would meet in an office they were in this little room, we were in this little room, and then we'd do the cheer in the big middle area.
Yeah. I remember being like, there was multiple times where I'd roll back in, you know, from selling, and I'd see a bunch of like Vivint guys, young Vivint kids. I'm like, I don't even know who half these guys are. Like, I don't know who any of these like little young hooligans are.
That was us. Yep.
I can't remember who it was. Oh, I feel like a jerk. But I was some young Vivint kid came up to me and he's like, hey Doug, what's up, man? Like, can you share my pitch? And I'm like, yeah, for sure. He's like, can I come knock with you? And I'm like, no.
You savage.
I'm like, no, you can't.
It was probably me.
It wasn't you, Zaza, I don't remember. It was some young kid, and he's like, asked if he could knock with me, and I was just like, I don't even know what. No, you can't.
That was an interesting. I actually learned more in that office than you would think, and I struggled. I was the worst rep there by a long shot. And
you did like 12, right?
I did 26.
26.
But I did 12 by end of July.
Yeah.
So like I really struggled, and I learned a lot. I knocked with Bobbick, which anyone who knows Aaron Bobbick, he is literally
one of my favorite people of all time.
Yeah, he's so good. Like, undeniably so good. But then you go shadow him and you're like, what the crap? You literally, like, you are just a ball of unlimited energy and zero structure. And you crush. Like, you dominate. I learned a lot from that office. D-Mac taught me a lot. Shout out D. I learned a lot from just seeing what you were doing. And then Bobbick, like those 3. And then Lamb, of course, was like that was my car group driver, dropped me off in Hood every day. That was when me and Lamb got super close. And that was
Lamb was my roommate.
I didn't even know that part.
Yeah.
Because Lamb was always hanging out with us.
Yeah.
We'd go to the gym in the morning together and everything with Mike York too. Shout out York. But yeah, that was an interesting year and then led into a lot more, just a crazy story. That was a crazy summer that I don't think anyone understands the dynamic of. Yeah. I couldn't explain. I've never seen it in door to door.
And it'll never happen again.
I don't think it can.
It can't. It's impossible, right?
Yeah.
It was, and actually I remember that summer too. I hit 250 on like July 28th. And then I was like, I remember waking up one morning, I'm like, oh, I don't want to knock in August. And I didn't have a team I had no one underneath me. And so I just packed up my stuff and I called Brad. I'm like, hey, Brad, I sit 250. I'm going to head home. And so I just went home.
What did he say? I'm actually curious.
I think he was cool. He was cool with it. He was like, great.
Brad is
great.
he's about as cool as
Yeah.
it gets.
He was like, cool. And I was number one in the office.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, cool. I'm all right. I'm done here.
That's
Right?
amazing.
250 feels good for me.
That's amazing. That was right before Nate Lords went through like his tear where he started doing 400 plus a year.
Yeah. That was the last year before Nate like blew.
I think he did like 2 something that year, 250, maybe 220. I don't know. But then after that next year in Little Rock, he just went on a tear before Solar where he was 400.
Yeah.
Like,
quick shout out to Nate Lords. He's probably pound for pound the best door-to-door sales, one of the top 1% door-to-door sales reps
totally agree.
of all time.
Yeah, personal, like the dude is just, yeah, he's an animal.
I can't wait to have him over in here. I actually texted him last week. I think he's going to come.
He'll be really good. It's cool to see him like leading now and training. And
is he the number one sales rep at Sunrun?
yeah, at Sunrun last year we had the big banquet. I wasn't there actually, but in New Zealand they went and announced like from every channel the top installers, and he was 160 something installs, 100 whatever it was. I don't know. I could be off a little bit there, but like the number one installer from the newer channel with the newer group, like just stupid. Like he's unbelievable. Yeah, he's unbelievable. Shout out Nate.
But as our kind of friendship really, like, when did we really start connecting? It was right. So I remember you reached out to me. And you were like, hey, I'm looking for mentorship.
Well, before that, we really connected the next year in Little Rock. When you went through some shit.
That was the darkest time of my whole life.
Yeah, you were going through it. And I was like, I'm an empath at heart. And I could tell it was whatever. Anyways, long story short, I ended up driving you to the airport. And that was where we became like, it wasn't just like, oh, there's Doug, who's the top rep. Oh, here's Zaza, who's now trying to run an office, and he's getting better. It was like, oh no, that's like my homie. And then it might not have been that off season, but the next off season. So about a year.
Yeah, right. So what happened was I went back. So after that summer, the following year, I didn't go do a summer.
Correct.
I remember I stayed in
you
Utah.
Left early that summer. I drove you, I think it was June or July. I drove you back to the airport from Little Rock.
So before that,
right?
Before that summer, so I did Memphis with you, right? That next summer, I didn't go do a market. I stayed in Utah and just sold in Utah.
Got it.
Right? And that's when I had like my big spiritual awakening, and right, that's when my Holy Shit, We're Alive, the book is all about. And then that fall is when I got into that relationship, and then so this was 2018, right? So 2016 Memphis, 2017 you went. That's when you kind of exploded, right? I started to kind of manage, and then I didn't go out. Then spring 2018 is when my whole life got rug pulled. My relationship ended. I left Mormonism, like not in a dark, like really dark spot, like questioning my whole everything. And then 2018, I'm like, oh, I need to go back out and I need to go make money. And so I like crawled on my hands and knees to Brad. I'm like, help me, And so I went out to Arkansas and I lived in, that apartment by myself.
Fountain
Blue, baby. And you were like up and coming at that point. And then I remembered like popping into your apartment a couple times, just kind of chatting with you here or there. And then I was so depressed that I left in end of May for a weekend to go do ayahuasca. Right. And then I remember you drove me to the airport. I said, hey, can you take me to the airport tomorrow morning? I'm going home to do ayahuasca.
And I was like, oh, sick. I was like, that sounds fun. Yeah. I was like, I had no clue what it was. Yeah, that was when we became like homies. And then I don't remember if it was a year after that or whenever it was, but then I did. Yeah, we went to lunch actually in Lehigh.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that was when I was like, dude, I just want to get better. Like, yeah, do you do coaching or would you like mentor me?
Yeah. So what's crazy about that was that's really, the reality is like, that's how Alchemy started.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, obviously, we didn't know what it was going to turn into at the time, but right before you reached out to me, like a week before, maybe 2 weeks before, I went to this mastermind that I didn't really think I wanted to go to, but then, had this strong impression that I needed to go. And I went to this mastermind in LA,
mm-hmm.
and the leader there, his name is Gerard Adams. I really resonated with the stuff at the time, not so much now, with his work at the time, not so much now, but I kind of showed him, I was building the Daily Shifts app. And he's like, dude, you gotta like, you're a great sales trainer, great coach. You should start a coaching program. And I'm like, what? Me? Like, who am I to coach,
Yeah.
And he's like, no, I really think you should really lean into that. And I'm like, okay, and then I literally get home and then you hit me up. And I was like, whoa, that's really weird. And so,
yeah.
And I just, thanks to you. I just want to send my appreciation and gratitude to you.
Oh yeah. I got a lot out of it. It was good. It was like, It was interesting because I've always hit people up for help. I always interview people. I always whatever. And dude, I'm like consistently, that's been a common theme since I met Casey Baugh, actually. It was just find people that have done something I want to do in an area that I want to do it, and then just go and learn everything about how they did it and then go do it again.
Yeah, and so my question too, because that was actually the all of this leads up was to my question is, one thing I really admire about you is like you're a sponge. It's like you will go interview and talk to, and like it seems you just get your ego out of the way. You're like, I'm a newbie, I don't know anything. Teach me everything you know.
Yeah.
And I've seen you do that with multiple people, right?
Yeah.
And then so like, where does that come from?
I think a lot of places, and I think it also evolves because I think the 17-year-old me that was asking for help was asking from a different place than the 26-year-old me. And at 17, it came from, okay, I've seen life done multiple different ways. I've seen it done where you don't have money. I've seen it done where you have an insane amount of money. I've seen it done where you have a really strong family unit. I've seen it done where your family split up into multiple families. I've seen it done in all these different ways from my own experience and then from my best friend's experience, then just witnessing, like just watching. And I just decided like I want to do life this way in this area, this way in this area, this way in this area, this way in this area. And the ones at the time that were the most pressing to me, like money was like a big deal. Going through high school when you just like, money's like not a thing.
Did you grow up with money in high school?
No, I grew up with no money in high school. And like hindsight, I always like to preface with this before I talk anything about my story. I'm so glad that I grew up the way I grew up. My parents were divorced, remarried, divorced again. We lived on the Bishop Storehouse food. Like my dad, 2008 filed bankruptcy with the whole housing collapse. He owned a huge lot of land down in Santa Quin, and that deal crumbled. It was going to be like a life-changing thing, and right in 2008 was when it kind of crumbled. So financially, no. Like it was, if you play sports, you're using a used baseball mitt from the older siblings, or you're going to play it against sports, which is used sports stuff. You're not snowboarding this year because we can't. And like, I'm actually amazed with how much we did with how little money we had. Like, so shout out to my parents. My mom's an elementary school teacher. But that was the first thing is I'm in Orem. You're kind of like, although that was how I was living, the people that I was going to school with and hanging out with, their parents were crushing.
Yeah, you're exposed to
a massive polarity of people. And it's not that I was friends with everyone. I really enjoyed hanging out with everyone, but I started to notice like, holy crap, when I go hang out with my certain friends, their parents teach me a lot. Like if I can just get a 30-minute conversation with their parents and just ask them like the basic stuff, they teach me a lot. And then somehow like God sent, Casey offered me a job and really took
How did you meet Casey?
Dude, that's the craziest part. I was over at Alex Dunn's house, Grant Dunn's.
Because you're homies with Grant.
Been my best friend forever. Yeah. Like since junior high when we started playing lacrosse together. And like that was a big eye-opening experience too. We're playing lacrosse together. He has the sickest stuff. He drives this rhino-wrapped Jeep that's lifted. It's so sick. That was my best friend. We hung out every day and I was like, this is crazy. So I was over at their house for a family home evening one night because his family's always been super, super inviting. Invite me to family dinners, like take care of me, literally. Coolest family ever. I love Debbie. I love Alex. I was over there, family home evening. I'm sitting in the living room with Alex, and it was just one of those nights where I was just kind of asking him a lot of questions. And I think if any of my friends' parents watch these, which they probably don't, they'd probably like, oh yeah, he was so annoying. Like I would like trap him after dinner.
So what, I mean, tell me more about that. Like what was the draw to ask questions? Was it coming from a place of curiosity, or was it a place of like trying to get help, or was it?
It was everything. I saw a certain life that I didn't understand how to acquire. I didn't know how you get to that point. It didn't make sense to me. I'd never seen it firsthand, but I saw that they're there, and it was just questions. Like, I want to know their story. Like, how did you get into business? Where are you from? How are you now the acting president of Vivint? Like, what led to that? How did you get there? Is that like something that other people could do? And then just advice for like my situation too, like as much advice as I could ask. And I didn't have a lot of advice to ask for myself. I'm more of one to know their story when I was 17. That's very different now. But then I was literally at Alex Dunn's family home evening, sitting there talking with him in his living room. Seabach comes in because Casey was in his ward, lived 4 houses away. And Alex is who Casey would go to for advice, is the way that I viewed it. Like he would go over and pick Alex's brain. They were in the same working environment and the same church environment, same neighborhood environment. And Alex was definitely his senior and more experienced in life in general. So he'd come over, and I don't remember what it was. I think he was venting about how church was just chaos or something that day. He was like exhausted. It was like his like
Casey was.
Yeah. came over, sat down, put his feet up. Alex was laughing, and I was just like a spectator, which I never minded. Like I enjoyed that a lot. And then he literally like that right then asked me if I wanted a job. I already had 2 jobs. I worked at KT Tape Warehouse, so I was boxing and packaging tape and mailing it. And then I was working at Vans in the University Mall. So I already had my 2 jobs. But I was like, yeah, absolutely. And it was the job that he was giving me was stocking his fridge, his drink fridge for recruiting meetings, and cleaning his cars, which I wasn't cleaning them. I was driving them to Supersonic to get cleaned and then dropping them back off.
Filling them with gas.
Yeah, that was it. Like, and then I would just disappear for a couple hours with the Porsche 911, like and he never cared.
Just rip it.
Absolutely rip it. My best friend actually drove it to a school dance and burnt the back tires off it. Casey did not care. He just made sure everyone was okay, got new tires. Like, coolest dude ever. So that's kind of where it started. And now where it's at is just like, dude, I'm just not the smartest person in general. And I think emotionally, I think I'm intelligent. But as far as like IQ, I'm just not the smartest person. And people I've learned that have done what you want to do have already figured out everything that doesn't work and hyper-focused on what does work. And it doesn't mean you have to go and replicate people exactly, but it means you can go take the things that work for you out of what they do and implement it in what you do. And I have like this like probably crippling desire to always grow and get better. And like there's that the dynamic of it's never good enough that I'm working on. But that's been a big driving force for it as well. Is it's just, and I'm fascinated by people. And it's not just really wealthy people. It's like you go talk to somebody who's been married for 70 years and get their insights on how they made that happen. It's incredible. Like it's really, really, really cool. And books were probably my segue into that. I started to realize people were way smarter than me when I started reading their books. Like, holy crap, I never thought of that, nor would I have until I was 80. I'm glad I learned that when I was 18, because that was one thing Casey did is he paid me to read books eventually.
What were some of the books on that reading
First
list?
one was As a Man Thinketh. It's 49 pages.
Easy.
Yeah, you'd say easy. I was a terrible reader, but like finished that book, gave him a book report, and then he just started dumping books. So Think and Grow Rich, The Happiness Advantage, The Compound Effect, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. I'm an 18-year-old in library aid reading 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And the money was a big reason. I definitely didn't have the same desire I have now when I was 18, but I did have desire to go make $100. So I would read the book. It was like a really, without Casey, dude, Casey changed my life, like plain and simple. He was a massive mentor. He took on that role. He gave meaning to the word mentor to me. And then he gave me these tools where he didn't have to be there for me to be getting mentored. And I learned in books, like it was crazy. Like books are crazy. I read a lot about John Wooden. That was some of his favorite books to give me.
Wooden on leadership is all time.
It's so good. Wooden is so good. John C. Maxwell gave me a lot of John C. Maxwell books. Stephen Covey books, of course. Like, yeah, that became like my thing. I was just a reader, but it was just to make $100 at first. And then eventually I started to love it.
Yeah. So how did you get into obviously how did you get in the door-to-door space, right? Because I'm assuming it was from Casey.
Yeah. So super similar. Casey was one of the VPs at Vivint, making a couple million a year, living in like my dream house. He's young 30s, like just crushing. And I was coming up on my end of my senior year. At this point, he'd become like my mentor, like in everything. Like I feel bad for Seba as well. Like dump all my shit on him and just ask him to give me the answers throughout all of high school. And coming up senior year, I was like, hey, we went and did like a little fireside. Might have been a book report. I don't remember. But we're sitting by the fire. We're drinking a drink. And we're just talking. I'm like, yo, I don't know what I'm going to do after high school. I'm enrolled in college. Government was paying for my college because of our financial situation. So I was in a decent spot. I was going to be in like student housing from a scholarship that my stepmom got. I didn't even get it. She got it for me. And I'm like, that's like my plan, but I'm not going to go on a mission and I don't know what I want to do in college. It's not very motivating. It's not exciting. And I probably used terms from books to let him know that I'm like, this isn't me just being lazy. Yeah. Like I've been reading, this doesn't follow like what I think my true north is or something.
Sure.
And he's like, you should absolutely do sales. And like me in high school, there's not a job that I could have imagined that would have been worse for my personality in high school. And you kind of knew me before I got comfortable. But like, dude, I was terrified of confrontation. I was like a massive people pleaser. I was a total punk, like not a bad kid, but I was a punk, dude. I just like to have fun. I like to do my thing. Like I've always had this crazy long hair, didn't care about my appearance. If I didn't like it, I didn't do it. And like he said sales, and I remember he said sales, and there's two sides of me. The side that trusts him with everything was like, okay, You're right. And then the other side that was overwhelming at the time was like, what the hell are you talking about? There's no, I'm like,
No
do you
way.
know me? Like, there's no way. That sounds miserable. But like, ultimately the side that like leans into his advice, won that conversation. And then I went on my first blitz trip when I was 17 years old to Greeley, Colorado.
How'd that go?
I got absolutely destroyed.
So you decided to go, and
decided to go run a blitz in February in Greeley, Colorado. So it's freezing.
So did he line you up with Rossiter?
He actually didn't line me up. The most interesting part about his recruiting is he said you should do sales.
Yeah.
He didn't even say Vivint.
Yeah.
He didn't. So I met with Pest Control.
That's right.
I met with
Jeremy Bell.
Yeah, I met with Jeremy Bell. Not my best interaction. Now I love Jeremy Bell, but like Jeremy, actually, I got lined up with Jeremy by Alex. Alex connected me with Jeremy. That was my first meeting, and I only met with Brad by happenstance when I was leaving the building. He was coming back in.
Share the story because it's good.
Finally decided, I'm like, okay, I'm going to meet with companies. Alex connects me with Jeremy Bell. I go to meet with Jeremy Bell, and none of this is shade at Jeremy Bell. And I don't
love Jeremy.
I don't blame Jeremy for this. I walk in with my best friend, Parker Wollaston. Parker has hair that's down past his shoulders, and I think at the time, half of it was pink and half of it was blonde because he did that for whatever reason in high school. He was a year older than me. I have this long brown hair. I'm wearing whatever was in style at that time. Skinny jeans, probably Doc Marten boots, like looking like, we just look like the perfect example of who you don't want to have come be on your team for summer sales. Like, you're just like,
you just don't look the part.
You're just not going to do well, and you're going to drag other people down. So we walk in, we sit down with Jeremy. I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued. I'm interested. Pest Control's been hyping me up. I'm like, all this money, I'll be such a dog. And honestly, it was probably really valuable, more than I even notice now. Jeremy basically told us how bad we would do. He's like, yeah, my team is return missionaries. They're dogs. They have a schedule. They're the best reps in the industry. We hold them to a very high standard. You guys probably wouldn't fit the mold. You probably wouldn't make it. And I'm like, this dude's a douche, bro. Like, literally, that's all I could think about. I'm like looking at Parker. Parker's looking at me. We're like, what the heck? So the meeting ends. We walk out of his office. He stays in there. And he was like big timing us, kind of how the Bells do. They're the masters at that. We walk out, and we walk over to get our free drinks because we know the Vivint building well. You're
getting free food.
We'd stolen meal vouchers from the Vivint building.
Tickets.
We fill up our drinks. I'm like, bro, F that. I'm like, I'll never sell for Vivint. I remember saying that while we're filling it up. That dude was a douche, like filling up my Coke. As we're walking in the front doors, Caleb Latier, Brad Rossiter, and Nate Hunter, and I think Nate Lords might have been there too. I don't remember. Maybe Jake. I don't know. But Nate Hunter is one of my really good friends from high school. His older brother, Dave's Hunter's son. Like, I'm close to their family. I know this kid. And he's like, what are you guys doing? And Nate's the funniest kid in the world. He's like, what are you guys doing here? I'm like, oh, we just met with Jeremy. He's like, oh, bro, you got to meet with Ross. Ross daps me up. First thing he says, like, sick hair. And that was one thing Jeremy bagged on. He's like, bro, your hair, you'd have to cut your hair. Like, you're just not going to fit in. So Brad's a charming dude. Everyone knows that. He's like the most likable human being out there. We went right from that front door into an office, talked for 30 minutes, and we were onboarding like 35 minutes later. Like, just stoked. Like, Brad can appeal to a high school student for sure. And then that was the beginning of it. Went on our first blitz to Colorado. I was getting destroyed. Parker, all my friends did better than me, every single one of them. But I sold one account on that blitz. It was this lady that had just gotten hip surgery, was absolutely zooted all out of her mind. Her husband was at work, and I didn't know any better. I transitioned. I didn't even do it. I transitioned in, dropped a pin, and Eric Pinuelos and Brad Rosser came because Eric was shadowing Brad, I believe. They closed the deal. It got installed before her husband got home, and she canceled after. But she got installed. Like, my first blitz, I think I got $200 from that blitz, and it was like mind blowing. I was like, what the crap? It was a 3-day blitz. I was like, what the crap just happened? And then I shipped out to Summer, and I remember me and my best friend Coy, we drove out to Memphis. My dad actually drove me and my best friend Coy out to Memphis. And that was the start of it. It was crazy. That was how I got into door.
And you started pretty slow.
Oh, I was horrible. Me and Coy went out because we had to graduate high school. His cousin and brother were out there already. They had already sold. They had their first 2 spots. They were probably at 8, 10 accounts by the time we got out there. Got out there. Coy sold one his first day, if I remember that correctly. And then he just was kind of clipping. And Coy's like the most likable, friendly, personable, doesn't care, just like confident kid ever. He's awesome. And they were all doing really, really well. And I think my first week I bageled, my second week I sold one, and then I went on a 3-week bagel streak where I did not sell for 21 days until that last Saturday. And it was like late in the evening, I sold that account. And that was like a tipping point for me, like a quitting point if I didn't figure it out. And then midway through summer, my best friend, his cousin, and his brother, who were all doing better than me, they all went home. So they all called it a summer and went home. Come to find out, they were doing better than me and golfing a few times a week. Like, I had no idea. I was out there, like, really trying to figure it out.
Put in the hours.
Putting in the hours in a way that was, like, really unproductive. But yeah, I was
like
putting in the hours.
Continuously hitting your
going
elbow
through
wall.
going through the motions, no belief, no conviction, no improvement, but like trying. And that's why I empathize a lot with those kids in door to door. And I think why a lot of people in our region come from that place and are now the best, because you can get good. Like, I don't believe there's a certain personality in sales that won't figure it out. I think it's a matter of, will you do it long enough to figure it out? That's like my core belief. And that's our region's very interesting. So yeah, it started out slow and it didn't finish good either. I finished the worst rep in the entire region. Like, I sucked the whole time.
I mean, there was more to it though, because you were like 12 in July.
Yeah.
But then you doubled your production the final month.
August was a big month for me. And the reason...
Yeah, well, because there's this moment where it's like, I mean, the reality is I think that August changed your life.
For sure. And I'll tell you, more than just selling more, I went to pick up Grant Dunn from his mission end of July. So I took a trip to Spain with Alex Dunn, his family, and Jeremy Guthrie. It's when I met Jeremy Guthrie. And we go to pick Grant up from Spain. And for 2 weeks, we're literally just flying, balling out anywhere we want in Spain, going and eating the best food, having the best time. And I remember I decided like a week into Spain, I'm like, yeah, dude, like Grant's about to be home. I'm like, yeah, there's only 4 weeks left or 3 weeks left even before this summer ends. I think it was 4 weeks when I get back. It's like, I'm flying into Salt Lake, like we're flying into Provo anyways. And then I'll have to go take a drive up to Salt Lake and then fly back out to Memphis. Like, I'm not getting dropped off in Memphis. So I convinced myself, I'm like, yeah, dude, it was like a good summer. Like, I'm done. And I was at 12 accounts or whatever it was. I'm like, yeah, it was a good summer. I'm done. So then I start like going through the motions of telling everyone I'm done. So I call Brad, my regional first. And I'm like, hey, bro, just want to let you know, like, I'm done. I'm going to come back. Like, I had a great experience. I'm in Spain right now. I got a few more days out here and I'm going to go back and get ready for college. Like, I've only got 3 weeks. Right now I'm selling 1 to 2 a week. It's like, I don't need the money. It's all good. And Brad's like, he was super cool. Brad's approach was the coolest at first. It was like, yeah, dude, call Casey. Like, let Casey know. I'm on board with whatever Casey says. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, yeah. So I'm like, I hang up. I'm feeling good. I'm like, my excuses are working. I'm like, hell yeah. And they were valid. They could have been valid, but I call Casey next time. Next person I call is Casey. And I remember this so well. It was probably 2:45 a.m. in Spain. Grant's dead asleep. We're sharing a hotel. On the phone with Casey. I'm walking around in my underwear. And I call Casey and it was mellow. And I let him know all the excuses. And the first thing he says is absolutely not. He's like, if you quit in this, you'll quit in everything. And I'm like, no, dude, it's not quitting. Like, I did it. Like, I have school. And he's like, no. He's like, how you do something is how you do everything. If you quit here, you're going to quit in life. And he's like, there's no way you should be a quitter. That's the worst thing you can be. He's like, I don't care if you go out there and don't sell a single account. I don't care if you have to take money out to go out there. You're going to debt. I don't care about any of that. But if you quit, you'll quit in everything. And even still being stubborn, there's 2 brains of mine. One of them that trusts everything Casey says, like, okay, I got to do it. And the other one's like, no, he doesn't get it. I'm going to go over his head. So then I'm like, man, I'll let you know. And at this point, dude, it was almost 3 a.m. I walked out of our apartment. I got locked out of our apartment and I'm in my underwear in Spain. I don't speak a word of Spanish. I'm banging on the door. I call Grant's phone 9 times. He's out. So I have to go down to the lobby and get somewhere in my underwear. I'm this skinny little, like, it was like the most ingrained in my brain memory ever. But my plan was the next day on the plane, I'm going to talk to Alex. I'm going to be like, hey, Big A, like, this is why I shouldn't go back.
Yeah,
I'm going to convince Alex and override Casey. And Alex said the same thing. Alex is like, no. He's like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. He's like, you can do anything for a day. Just go do it for a day until it's the day you said you're going to go home. He's like, if you say you're going to do something, you do it. And I was like, fuck, dude, it's not working. So I tried a little bit more. Ultimately, it was a no. So I reluctantly shipped back out to Memphis. I get out to Memphis.
So what was that moment like when you realized you were going back?
Miserable. It was like but it was like, but it wasn't like a lingering miserable. It was like a moment of miserable. And then I was like, okay, like,
just one
I already
time.
made the decision. The decision was made. It wasn't, I'm going to go out there and make the decision every day. I was like, no, I'm out there till August 24th or whatever it was. When I get back out there, that was when my friends had decided to go home and they took all of my things home except my work stuff. So I go there, my bedding is gone. all my penny board's gone. There's
It's
like
a
a
penny
pipe.
board.
It's like a little longboard we'd ride every
Oh,
night.
that's right. You guys had the little,
Yeah, the
I
little
remember
longboard.
those. Yeah.
Everything's gone except my work uniforms and my suitcase that I had. And I'm like, what the fuck? I had no money. I was at $16 in my bank account. I'd gone through all my savings. Obviously at Vivint you get your back end, so I hadn't gotten my money yet. I got some of my upfronts. Anyways, long story short, I ended up spending the rest of the summer sleeping with my towel as my blanket. Me and Nate Hunter, the kid who like recruited me, pushed our beds together, made like a mega bed for whatever reason. He was talking to his girlfriend every night. I'm just laying in bed with my towel. And that's how I finished summer. But yes, I did. Like the decision being made, I had gotten better. And I think it was the thought of like, oh, I'm going home. I don't care anymore. I'm never going to see these people again. And in addition to that, I had been really trying to study the 30 Days to Pro trainings. And I went out and I had my best 3 or 4 weeks of summer. It over doubled my summer in that last month.
You did double your accounts just in the last month.
Yeah, and it definitely changed my life, not because of the production, but because I tried to quit. The people that I respect the most didn't let me quit. And then I learned how valuable it is to do what you say you're going to do and to not quit, even if that means getting creative and making it work. Like I had every reason to quit. And I probably would have been validated by a lot of people. And yeah, maybe Casey would have been bothered for a couple weeks, but he would have forgot about it. But I know the way that he would have viewed me as a person would be significantly different from how he views me now because he knows I don't quit. And I think that earns a lot of respect in a lot of ways. Like,
yeah, one thing you said that's actually really powerful is that you're going to have a million excuses why you can't do it. And they're all going to be valid.
people think that if their excuses are valid, that means they should quit.
Yep.
People think if their excuses are valid, that's why they shouldn't produce. People think if they can come up with enough valid excuses, it'll validate their lack of results. You can always find those.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit. In a 100% commission-based job, no one cares about all the excuses or all the roadblocks you had to get through. They care about results. And the scoreboard is the biggest lie detector in the world. It doesn't mean you need to go be amazing right now with your results, but it does mean you have to go figure it out. It's so interesting. It's not that people's excuses are invalid. Sometimes they are. Sometimes people come up with some outlandish excuses. But majority of the time, every excuse someone's giving you is valid. And that's the hard part of being a leader in door-to-door is like, hey, I hear you, but just ignore it. Like, I hear you, but don't give any power to that excuse. Otherwise, it'll rule your whole world.
Yeah, completely take over.
I hear you, but make sure you control the story and the narrative, even though there's all these other excuses you could choose to give power to. It's super interesting.
Yeah, it seems like a very pivotal moment in your whole life, right?
For sure.
And so what happened of that though? Because it seems like not only did you crush that last month, but then you came home and you were like all in.
So that's actually interesting is it didn't flip a switch right then. Like, I think it did long term, but right then I actually was just like, okay, cool. Like I remember I made 12 grand that summer. Come to find out a big chunk of that was a bonus Casey put on my October back end. I didn't know that until a few years later.
I had the same thing happen to me too. My first year, my dad died, right? And so I only sold a couple of weeks and then I got a nice little back end check.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And then like, I remember going through the reports and it was like Casey bought bonus 10K. And I'm like,
yeah,
what?
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
bro. I didn't even know.
Yeah.
So shout out Casey. That
Shout out
changed my
C-Bob.
life. But what really happened was I wasn't all in. I was going to college. I was like kind of keeping up with the habits Casey gave me. And I was like, yeah, I'll go back. I made 12 grand. I'll go do that again. Maybe I'll make 20 this next year. Like, that's what I was thinking. 20 to 30 grand this next year will be great. Maybe I'll take a couple other buddies out, or maybe I'll just go solo so it doesn't stress me out. And I remember like that was my mindset from September 1st until February 13th was the day. And I remember me and Casey had to sit down on February 13th. And it was like a booby trap. I was going in there to go like interview him on how to go make sure I make 30, 40 grand this year, right? Yeah. And I sit down with him and he shows me all the different ways to make revenue at Vivint and everything, explains it. And then he like sat down at the end of it. And we'd always had a very positive, he was always uplifting, always positive, always reassuring, always nothing but positive from him. And he told me good job for finishing. And one thing had happened a few weeks prior. I was at his house stocking his fridge again. He was talking to Ty Mattingly. And I told Ty I sold 26. And Ty's like, oh, is that good? He asked Casey, turns from me to Casey, says, oh, is that good? And Casey laughs. He's like, that's horrible. And I was like, was like, shit, bro, like let me
Yeah.
walk away before
Yeah.
you say, I don't even think you'd remember that. But then 2 weeks later, we had to sit down at the man cave, and I'm like interviewing him, and he like sat down at the end, and it was the first time he'd ever expressed like tough love or disappointment or anything. I don't even know what I would call it. But he looked at me, he said, Zach, he's like, I want you to understand, like, you have the golden ticket opportunity. Don't waste it. And he said, if you're going to go do what you did last year, don't go. He's like, don't go. Unless you decide you're going to get very good at this and you're going to go take advantage of the opportunity, don't do it. It's disrespectful to you. It's disrespectful to me. It's disrespectful to your leaders. Don't do it. And bro, that hit, like, I don't think I slept that entire night. I was
yeah, walk us through that like inner experience you had after that conversation, because it seems like it really caught you off guard.
in the moment, it was like a whoa, like chill out, bro. Like that was in the moment. And then I sat in my car, and he obviously gave me a hug. It ended pleasant. It wasn't like he was shitting on me. It was like, so we go, I sit in the car, and I like teared up. I like got super emotional. I felt like it was the first time I ever felt like I let Casey down after everything that he had done for me. And that was what was heavy. It was like, oh, dude, like he's done all of this for me, and I'm not doing my part. Like, I'm not okay with that. And I've always with anyone, any relationship I have, really, it's like I always want to go give more deposits than withdrawals. Like, that's really important to me. And I'm not perfect at all. And there's definitely people who are like, oh, dude, you definitely make more withdrawals than deposits. But like, I felt like that was a massive withdrawal. Like, Casey dumping so much into me. And then his view of my summer was that I went out there and half-assed it. Like, that killed me. So I totally switched everything up. Like, that was like the, if there was a time in my life where the superhero theme song and Rocky would have come on, that was it. Like, I go home, I'm in my nasty freaking student housing. My roommate's it was such a bad college experience. And I'm locked in my room, and I pull out my journal, and I just wrote like my non-negotiables. I literally was like, my non-negotiable first and foremost was I'm going to do this job until I'm one of the best. Like, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. And by the way, at this point, I was a 26 account rookie. I was not good. Nothing had changed. I hadn't done any. This was like the day after a hard conversation. And then I had this list of positive affirmations that I would write down, where it's, if I control my inputs, the outputs will work themselves out. I'm so lucky and I'm so blessed. I love myself and I love my work. Nobody is as good as me. I'm tenacious. I'm going to be one of the greatest sales leaders in the industry. I'm going to be one of the greatest salesmen in the industry. I like myself and I love my work. I like myself and I love my work. I like myself and I love my work. I would like brainwash myself every day. And I was in college. I was taking 17 credits Monday through Thursday. I was at school all day, and I was miserable, by the way. That was like the most depressed I've been in my life. But then Friday, Saturday, I'd go knock. And I remember that next Friday, Saturday, I went out and drove down south to Elk Ridge, Utah, just because it was, honestly, I think I asked Tommy Wilkinson where to go, and he told me to go down there.
Elk Ridge,
Utah, down by Spanish Fork. It's the really nice homes up on the hill by Gladstone Golf Course. I go knock out there. Friday, bagel, nothing new. Super used to bagels, right? Saturday, I sold one or two. I think I might have sold, no. Friday, Saturday, bagel. Next Friday, bagel. So 3 bagel days in a row. That Saturday, I sold 2. And that was like one of my only 2 spots ever. Yeah. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, I sold 2. I go home. I got myself a little celebratory cheeseburger. There's a certain spot in Spanish Fork I would go if I sold one. And I created like my own game out of it. And I sold 2. And I remember Brad called me Monday. He's like, yo, like I saw you sold 2 as a family. Like, what's going on? I'm like, no, dude, I'm knocking in Utah. Because we didn't have blitz trips planned. And he's like, oh, nice. And I remember him asking, I remember so specifically, I was driving home from knocking this next week on the Friday. I might have sold another one, or maybe I bageled, I don't know. And he's like, did you get a technician? I'm like, what do you mean? I dispatched it to INV, whatever, what we used in Memphis. He's like, homie, like, those techs, they're not here. Like, what do you mean? And I'm like, what? So those 2 actually never went in. But then I went out that preseason. I went really, really hard. I had my best days ever.
They didn't reschedule.
No, they never went in. They ghosted me after that.
Oh.
But I sold all their neighbors. Yeah. So all their neighbors have Vivint, and they're for sure jealous now. But yeah, that literally, it turned into like my momentum just started going nuts. And I installed 26 preseason accounts just to beat my last summer in preseason. That was super important to me. I interviewed probably 2,300 account reps. I interviewed the best regionals. I grinded through school. I hated it. I made a deal with myself that once I made 6 figures, I'd drop out. And I just went hard, and that was my life. If you ask my college experience or anyone in college, like, dude, I did not do a single thing outside of school and work. My social life was 2 hours a week, maybe. And I was hanging out with a girl at my apartment Saturday night. Like, that was it. That was the extent of it. And it was actually kind of easy because all my friends were on missions. My older friends and my age friends were all on missions. My younger friends were still in high school. So it was like, I was the most lonely I've ever been, but it was a really important factor to me being able to go do what I did.
And no distractions, right? You're able just to completely lock in.
Exactly. And it was like, even if I had distractions, it wouldn't have distracted me because I was like, it hurt so bad to let Casey down, someone that I like looked up to and loved so much. And I wanted more than anything just to make him proud. And that next summer I went out, I did 175. I was the most improved rep in Vivint that entire year. Super interesting. Yeah. Super interesting year. I made 128 grand. I dropped out of college. Like,
that's 2017.
This would have been 2018 summer in Arkansas. That's what this one would have been. And then that was my summer. It was a phenomenal summer. It ended up being amazing. That drive home was the most crazy feeling I've ever had. I was a solo slayer. I had my number of 175. The office kind of dissolved mid-August, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Bentonville with Tommy and his group. He's got 9 reps, 4 techs. They're all going to stay until middle of September. I get to the apartment in Bentonville, Arkansas, a market I didn't know. No one showed.
All bounced.
No one showed. There were 3 technicians in the basement and me upstairs in the Airbnb. And I'm like, literally like, what's like terrified. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I had made my decision. Like, I was there until Christmas to hit my number. Like, that was done. It wasn't even I didn't even consider going home at that point.
Yeah.
I freaked out a little bit. Yeah. I was like, where's like the support? I'm not a manager. I'm like a second year rep. And I remember I was knocking, and it was my hardest experience in door to door was I was so close. I found this little pocket of brand new development, all a little local dealer. I switched over 13 accounts one week, which was phenomenal. Got me 2 away. So I was at 173 waking up end of August. Sold 13 accounts the week prior. I woke up on Monday to 11 of those 13 canceled. And my heart dropped. I got sick. I wanted to die.
I can't imagine.
Dude, I drive out there, and I'm right there, dude.
It was just right the local just got them all back.
So I went back out there, and no one would answer the door to me. I mean, this is crazy because this street, it was one street, a brand new home, loved me. Like, I was there. They were feeding me. That last week was a blast. It was like, oh, dude, I could do this all year. Wake up Monday, 11 cancels. Later in the day, the other 2 cancel. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I spent the whole day Monday trying to figure it out. No one answered. Finally, like 8:30 p.m., I go back on the street again. It was the most consuming thing ever. I tried to go knock in between, couldn't sell anything. Go back over there. Finally, a single mom answers the door that I was the closest with. She was super cool, crazy little kids. And she answers the door, and she's like, my equipment's already down. All the Vivint equipment's on the ground, waiting for us to go pick it up because they reinstalled the dealer then that weekend, right? And I go talk to him, like, what's going on? Like, help me understand. And I think she could tell I was emotionally, like, I'd been crying that day. I was like in a bad spot. And she's like, oh, like, so-and-so came back through, let us know, like, that you were scamming people, showed us articles about a scam, like, and it freaked us out and told us that we had to switch back, told us that we were never going to get that cancellation amount that your company was going to send us to cancel his system. So we were going to be stuck paying 2. So we figured we may as well get it canceled within our 3-day right of rescission. And I was like, holy crap. Like, it like blew. I didn't even try and save her because it was done. Like, it was there was no trust. Right. And I wasn't in a place to go and like, dude, I was destroyed. Went home that night. That was probably the most defeated I've ever been. I don't talk about that story a whole lot, or in detail at least. And I remember I'm like, okay, 173 back down to 160. And I'm like, and that doesn't sound heavy.
In the moment, though, that's like the worst. That's brute. That's torture.
It's torture.
It's absolute torture.
And it's end of August. Like, the next week was supposed to be my
by yourself.
Week. Yeah, I was supposed to sell 2 on Monday and go home.
Yeah.
And now it's end of Monday, and I now have 13 or 15 more to go do. And I'm literally sitting there, and I'm like, I can hear the freaking technicians downstairs. They're texting me like, come on, bro. They actually loved me because I was giving them work because they were promised a lot of work they didn't get. But they were like, we need more work. Like, they were hounding me because I didn't sell one that day.
Yeah.
They were downstairs playing beer pong. I'm upstairs depressed in my room. I don't even remember my routine there was to take a bubble bath. I don't even think I took a bubble bath. I think I just laid in bed miserable. And dude, I just cried myself to sleep. I woke up Tuesday. I wrote in my journal. I had the same journal entry every day, just positive affirmations. threw on the freaking Vivint uniform, got in my Subaru that was wrapped in Vivint, drove straight out to a neighborhood, 10 a.m. freaking. And that was like my next, I think it took me about that week I went and I did, I think 11 more. Then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. By Wednesday, or no, yeah, Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. because I was going out early. I sold my final deal. I did not leave that house until the technicians fully installed the panel. Then I knew it was done. That was number 175. Got out front. I wish I would have been better, like recording things or like documenting things. I do that better now, where I'll take a video of myself, just like a journal entry video. But I remember I got out there, fell to my knees in their front yard, just started bawling. Techs were doing the doorbell camera while I'm crying on the front lawn. They're like, what's going on? My Subaru's parked out front. Get in my car, drive straight to the Airbnb. My bags are already packed, like just laying there open. Close my bag, zip it up, throw it in the back of the Subaru, rip my uniform off. I'm shirtless, straight shot from Bentonville to Utah. I spent probably 4 hours bawling through Colorado. Best feeling I've ever had in my entire life was that day, that account. I could drive you to the house, going home, that drive through Colorado. Part of it was probably lack of sleep. Like I was probably so just delirious. I was hyped up on so many energy drinks, but I cried for probably 4 hours straight. Like good cry, like most healing experience ever. Got home, met up with my best friend Coy. I bought a motorcycle that he picked up from where I was going. We went and rode motorcycles till who knows what time. Best feeling in the world.
I mean, that what it is from my perspective, it just seems like that was when like Zaza 2.0 was birthed into the world. Like
100%.
Old version of like it's a full transformation. It's like it's a spiritual experience where it's like the older version of me no longer exists, and this newer version of me, the higher version of myself, best version of myself, right? One who keeps his commitments, who grows. It's like that's the day you grew up.
100%. And found it's the date my identity fully changed. Yeah. My identity was no longer like, oh, I'm a product of my environment. Like I'll take what I get. Like, and it was, no, I can make shit happen. Like I'm the man. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. Nothing can stop me. Like all I could think about is every time I'd look, even reps that outsold me, because the next phase was going and trying to be the top rep and selling 300. And that was a whole nother feat for me. I'm not naturally gifted at sales. Like it's really hard for me actually. And to go do 300, it was like, it took everything I had. And people talk about like, I could have done more. I'm like, no, I could not have done a single account more that year. It almost killed me. But like my identity changed entirely. My belief system changed entirely. And now I would look at people and like, I'm so glad I had that week where all those canceled, because I would look at people that were 300 account reps, 250, like the next class for me to go beat. And I'd be like, bro, you would have quit. Like I can see it in your eyes. If that happened to you on a Monday, you would have quit and no one would have bothered you. You still would have been the most improved rep in the company. The 175 number had no significance, except I wrote it down. No significance. No one knew whether I did 175 or 163 or 160. No one knew. And you would have quit. And I'm like, that was my confidence. Anytime I'd go in a head-to-head, anytime I was up trying to go recruit against someone, anytime I was up to try and go build a bigger office than someone. And like, I'm a very competitive person, and that's like and it still is. Like, I still know that I've done things that other people would have quit, or other people would have validated their excuses. And I have a few of those stories. Maybe every couple years I have one of them where it happens. And in the middle of it, I'm like, okay, I can either validate my excuses here, or I can go and do something no one else would be willing to do. And that's why I'm going to go beat everybody in the long run. And that's truly where most of my confidence in door-to-door comes from, is those moments. Knocking in freaking bomb cyclones, knocking with shingles, knocking after 11 cancels alone in market, knocking until Halloween one year because of COVID. We started late. Like, no one else will do that. And I'll do it again. Like, every year I'll do it. I don't care.
Yeah, it reminds me of my favorite definition of confidence. Or actually what true confidence is the only way to build confidence, the only way is to do the things you said you were going to do.
Yeah, keep the promises
keep
to
your
yourself.
commitments. It's the only way, right? Yeah. It's not going to be doing going to the gym, getting strong, or shouting affirmations. It's just, or being the alpha, pounding your chest. It's like the only way to build confidence is knowing that if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
100%.
And it's like, that story is so inspiring, because it was like, oh, you were right there. And then you wake up to being like, just the universe just like laughing at you, just pulling a prank on you.
The feeling, dude, in my body, like, not even, like, I don't even know how to explain it. It was the sickest I've ever felt. like waking up, because you know that number, it's a 741 number.
Yeah.
Lets you know your customer called into ROR,
Yep.
and it lets you know the result. And I had 11 with all my customers' names from the previous week. And I was like, dude, even one of those will make you sick.
One of them's sick. 11?
11 in the same day when you're right there in August. Like, dude, that was the craziest thing I've ever experienced in door to door. Like the hardest thing.
Yeah. You know, it reminds me of what's unfolding here for me is this really you now being able to share that as a leader, right? Those that have seen The Last Dance by Michael Jordan, the Michael Jordan documentary, is he says, hey, people would, you know, call me names or call me this or that, but I push them, and it's because they knew that I never asked my people to do something I wasn't willing to do myself.
Mm-hmm.
And now that you have that story and that message, it's like, I think that's why people follow you and why you're such a great leader is because it's like they know that like you will go get in the trenches and you will do the hard thing and you'll do it probably outlast anyone else because you have that willpower. And I think that's also one of the incredible attributes you have, what makes you such a great leader.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think I'm so glad my experience in door to door has gone how it has. Although in the moment I wished it was an easy first summer and I crushed, an easy second summer and I crushed. Like, I'm so glad it's gone the way I have because I can relate to literally everybody in door to door. I can relate to the kid who goes out and sees no success. I can relate to the best reps. I can relate to the people who have been really good and are now struggling. I can relate to the people who have every single reason to not be there anymore. I can relate to everybody, and I can kind of ask them to go a little bit more, a little bit longer. And that's usually all it takes. Like, that really is usually all it takes.
Yeah, and you're just able to extract a new depth within someone.
Yeah.
You know, and it just like, you know, Casey saw something in you that you maybe didn't see in yourself at the time.
Yeah.
And now you're able to, you know,
I still don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I still don't know. Dude, I was a punk in high school. Like, Casey, I think maybe the only thing that I could go and attribute myself for is like, he gave me a book for $100 and I read it because I needed money.
Yeah.
I think most of the people that he would go and offer that type of mentorship to had wealthy parents, and it wasn't that big of a deal. And like $100 could be great, but not life changing. Like, to me, that was like, I'll do anything to go and make that $100. Like, yeah, super. I don't know. Casey's one of my heroes for sure.
Yeah, man, it's super inspiring. And so, Zaza, for sure, we're out of time here, but like, we got to do another because we have a whole other pod to do here.
Yeah, we got
we
got a lot more. I'm sorry, bro.
We didn't talk about leadership.
I totally rambled. My fault.
We didn't talk. I mean, because here's the reality: like, we're gonna do a second pod, in the future because we got to talk about culture.
Yes.
You're probably. I work with a lot of people in door to door. No one is better in the industry at building culture than you.
Thank you.
So we'll have to have that conversation, but I like the little teaser of just this mindset and whatnot, brother. But
yeah, I think everyone knows me a little bit better than I don't know if I've ever gone that in detail. Sorry, I rambled, but
no, that was beautiful. It was exactly what needed to be, man. I feel inspired. I feel fired up. I'm ready to go knock doors again,
bro. I love it. Knocking it.
When was the last time you knocked?
I was knocking at 2 weeks ago. I went and knocked for the rally to help my group. I mean, we just had a competition in Fusion, and 3 of the 4 number 1 spots Meraki took.
Let's go.
I was driving the black minivan with drinks for everyone. I was helping close deals where they needed it. My guys are far more talented than me right now at knocking doors, but I mean, dude, I tell them every day, you guys want to see if Zaza can sell? Let's go onboard a little dealer. We'll ship out to a little town and we'll go 2 weeks and I'll bury everybody.
I like it.
We got to fire. It's fun. And I say that confident, but I know some of my guys would go and
go ham.
Yeah. They're beasts. My respects to them. And yeah, I would say the most important thing from everything I said is I've learned a very simple principle. Very, very simple. It's you cannot beat someone who doesn't quit. And a lot of people are more talented than me. A lot of people are better off than me. A lot of people start out better than I do. A lot of people have things going better 1 year than I did. I have identified the people that I'm going to beat in door to door. And it doesn't matter if it's because they quit because it takes so long and they did their thing. It doesn't matter. I will end up better than them before I exit the industry. Like I have a list. I have a hit list. It's very secret. I don't tell anyone. But I know for a fact they can't beat me if I don't quit. And even if I have a slow year, a slow month, or a slow week, or I lose a team or whatever happens, or crazy shit goes on in my industry, it doesn't matter. Like until I go and beat the people I'm going to beat, I'm not going to quit. And they can't beat me because I'll just go a little bit longer than they're willing to.
I mean, it's so well said. I saw it on my Instagram last night and Alex Hermosi posted this. He said, entrepreneurship is not a game of best man wins, but a game of last man standing.
100%. And I believe that Dude, it's where I get all my confidence because I'm not naturally as good as a lot of people and I'm super insecure in a lot of ways, but I understand that principle. If I outlast you, I win. And I'm willing to outlast you, I guarantee you. You're not willing to do the things I'm willing to do to stay on the treadmill longer. Guaranteed.